Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk to you today about safeguarding others and how you can keep yourself and your loved ones safe. Today, I'll be looking at what safeguarding is, what abuse is, how to raise a safeguarding concern, and what to expect during the safeguarding process. Safeguarding is a word that is often used by professionals or services that work with people who may be at an increased risk of harm, such as an older person or people living with a disability. However, we know that many members of the public don't know what safeguarding means, which makes it hard to know how to respond to any safeguarding concerns when it happens to them or a person they care for. Put simply, safeguarding is all about protecting a person's health, well-being and human rights so they can live a life that is free from harm, abuse and neglect. If this doesn't happen and there is a safeguarding concern, professionals will work together to stop any harm or risk and put things in place so that it doesn't happen again. Everybody involved should also support the person's choice and control during this process. The main aim being that the person's overall well-being and safety improves and that they are fully involved in any decisions that are being made. Although we may have concerns about what is happening in a person's life, there are certain points that need to be met before social care can get involved and offer their support. These points come from the Care Act, which is a legal framework for adult social care and helps us to know when to raise a concern. Once these points are met, an investigation can then be actioned by social care. The points that need to be met are: the person has care and support needs, even if they are not getting any help to meet these needs. The person is being abused or neglected or is at risk of abuse or neglect. And as a result of their care and support needs, the person is unable to protect themselves from the risk or abuse. There are other services in the community that a person can access if they do not meet the above points for support from social care. Abuse can come in many forms and can happen at any time and anywhere. Many people are abused by people that they already know or who are already in their lives. Someone can be subjected to one act of abuse, repeated abuse, or abuse that is built up over a long period of time. Abuse is not always done knowingly or willingly, and sometimes the person doing the abuse has their own challenges and may not realise that what they are doing is harming the other person. Abuse can also be a result of someone not doing something that they should have done, which has caused another person harm. An example of this could be a carer not carrying out the appropriate care visits, which has resulted in the person they were caring for not getting the help they needed, such as meals or personal hygiene. This is also known as acts of omission. As people are often abused by somebody already in their life, and because abuse can happen over time, it is not always obvious when someone is being abused. There are certain things called risk factors, which can increase the likelihood of a person being abused. These people may not be able to protect themselves from harm or tell people what is happening to them and how they are feeling as a result of this. There are many types of abuse and neglect, so let's have a look at these in a bit more detail. Physical abuse, this could be because of an assault, such as slapping or punching. It could also be because someone has given a person the wrong medication, which has then caused that person physical harm. Sexual abuse, this is when a person has been touched sexually in a way that they do not want or are able to agree with. This is also known as lacking capacity. A person can also be made to carry out sexual acts with others that they don't want to do, or can be made to send or watch pictures and films that have sexual content, such as nudity. Emotional abuse. This could be when someone is being threatened or controlled in a way which is having a negative effect on how that person feels emotionally. This could include being shouted at or harassed by someone on an ongoing basis, or being stopped from doing something that they want to do, such as leaving the house. Domestic abuse. This could be when someone uses violence or threatens to use violence against the person they have a relationship with. This does not just include intimate relationships, it also includes people's families and the people that they live with. This form of abuse can also include when a person is being forced to do something that they don't want to do because they are worried about being hurt if they don't. An example of this could be a forced marriage. Financial abuse. This could be when someone is taking another person's money without asking them, or when a person is controlling what they can and cannot spend their money on, keeping their money from them altogether at times. This could be being done by a family member or someone who is thought of as a friend or even a paid carer. Human trafficking. This is when a person is brought to this country and forced to work or do things against their will through threats, violence or lies. The people who are trafficked into the country are often made to work for very low wages and live in poor conditions and are exploited by the people controlling them who want to make money from their labour. This is also called forced slavery. Discriminatory abuse. This could be when someone has been treated badly or unfairly because of their personal differences, such as the colour of their skin, their religion, or a disability that they may be living with. Organisational or institutional abuse. This could be when paid staff, such as hospital or care workers, do not fully support or respect a person's rights. An example of this could be when organisational rules are made without asking what the people living within them want. For example, making all residents in a care home go to bed at the same time at 6 p.m. Neglect or omission. This is when someone fails to support a person properly, such as not keeping a person safe, not getting them the right medical help, or not providing them with the things that they need, such as food, heating, and clean clothing. And finally, we have self-neglect. Some people can struggle to look after themselves and don't receive any support. They may not know how to ask for help or who to ask, or may not even recognise how much they are struggling. This means that people can go unnoticed by services for very long periods of time, which can in turn lead them to neglect their own needs or home to such a level that it's now causing them harm. It's not just down to professionals to raise safeguarding concerns. Members of the public also have a role to play when it comes to raising safeguarding concerns with their local authority if they believe a person is being neglected or abused. Safeguarding is everybody's business, and often it will be neighbours or people outside of a person's family or situation that notice the signs of abuse and report this to social care. All local authorities have their own social care team, which can be contacted directly via the form. Social care services usually have a dedicated team that deal with safeguarding concerns and inquiries. So the person who answers the phone and takes the information must pass on the information to the safeguarding team. The safeguarding team will then look at the concern, get more information, and will contact the person the concern has been raised about. If necessary, they will also contact the person's family member, friend, support provider, or any other relevant professionals. Every social care team has an emergency number that can be used outside of working hours if someone is at immediate risk of harm during the evening or night. A social worker from the safeguarding team should contact you and arrange to visit the person who needs the safeguarding support following the concern that you have raised. They will talk to the person about the concern and ask them what they want to happen next. Sometimes social care must take steps straight away to make sure that someone is safe whilst they look into things further. This could be to stop someone from doing something, for example, accessing the internet if they've experienced online abuse, or a change of carer if there is a concern that someone's not being looked after properly. These are called protective measures. During the safeguarding process, social workers and other people will work together to stop the risk of harm and look at what they can do to make sure that this doesn't happen to the person again in the future. The professionals involved should also support the person to understand what a safeguarding concern is, why it might have happened, and what they or other people can do to prevent this from happening again in the future. At the end of the safeguarding process, the social worker should speak to the person to ask them how they feel about the work that's been done and how they now feel about their future. The social worker may also ask for an assessment of need to be completed by social care so that they can make sure that the person's needs will fully be met moving forward. All professionals involved need to make sure that the person they are safeguarding is involved in the decision as much as possible. They also need to find out how the abuse or neglect caused that person harm and how they feel about that harm. This helps professionals figure out the best way to keep that person safe in a way that supports their choice and control, as well as improving their overall well-being and safety. This is called making safeguarding personal. If yourself or your loved ones feel that you need formal support during the advocacy process, please contact us on the details on the slide.